Hey guys, welcome back to Notorious Crafts. In this video, I will show you how you can make some cute pastel Easter decorations for your dollhouse. And also don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any more videos that I make. All of the miniatures that I made in this video are 12th scale, and I will put links down below to the materials that I use. And if I can find them, some of the materials I've kind of had throughout the years, so whatever I can find, I will link down below. I always plan all of my projects with a color palette, so for this one I decided to do all pastels for Easter, so I did pink, purple, blue, yellow, green, and white. And I took this card with me when I went shopping in the store to find materials in these exact colors. I used this real wood miniature cabinet and then painted it with some white paint as the base coat before I applied the color. Then to get a pastel yellow, I just added some yellow paint and mixed it with white until I got the color that I wanted. And then once the white paint dried, I went ahead and used the yellow to paint the rest of the cabinet. I did paint it 2 coats just because each layer that I painted was very thin, so I wanted the color to be a little bit stronger. I had this wooden chair and decided to paint it the same color yellow as the cabinet so that it would be an exact color match. I bought this pack of polymer clay candy sticks and chose out the colors that match my color palette and then used some glass jars to fill them up. I usually like to make most of the miniatures myself, but when I saw these little miniature candy sticks, I thought they would be really perfect and would save me some time from having to make them myself. I sometimes find myself short on time, and I wanted to get this project done a few weeks before Easter, and so I could post this video ahead of time to give you guys some ideas for your dollhouses as well. I also found some small polymer clay slices with an Easter theme, so I thought they would make really great candy and just filled up a few jars with them. Easter always has some of the best candy, so it makes a perfect decoration. I found this miniature metal bike with a basket in back, and it reminded me of an Easter basket, so I thought it would be really great to put some decorations in the back of it. As you might have seen in some of my other videos, I love using these small little laser cut wood pieces as decorations for my dollhouse miniatures. I chose out all of the eggs and some of the bunnies, and I'm going to paint them with some pastel paint that will be in the same color theme as my color palette. And then I will put them in the back of the basket. And then the smaller pieces, I will also paint those, and those will go inside of the cabinet. To get pastel colored paint, I used a lot of white paint and then added in some colored paint that I already had so that I wouldn't have to buy all new paint. And that's just a little tip. If you do not have a large variety of colored paint, you can definitely mix them together to get colors that you want, especially if you can't find the exact color that you want in the store. And also mixing the paint together is a lot of fun to watch too. I always love watching the little swirl in the middle of it. I painted each of the wood pieces with 3 coats of paint since I forgot to add a white base coat to each one, and some of the wood was still showing through, so 3 coats did the trick. Don't forget to wait for each layer to dry in between the coats. All of the wood pieces are painted and ready to go in the basket. Next, I grabbed some of this green paper basket filler, and I'm going to use it to go in the back of the basket before I add in the wood pieces. And now it'll look like a real Easter basket. I actually bought this paper for my own Easter baskets at home and thought I could make some great use out of it for my miniatures. Next, I will make the set of Easter baskets. And when I was shopping at Michael's craft stores, I found this hemp string that matched my color palette almost exactly. So I thought this would be really great to make my Easter baskets out of. This is also why it's great to have your color palette planned out before you go shopping so that you can find things that will match exactly what you need and then don't end up buying more than what you need. I grabbed some bottle caps that were going to be recycled, and I thought they'd be really great to use as the form for my baskets. The green one, I think, is a juice cap. The black one came from like a small mini travel size Listerine bottle, and then I think the purple one was from some makeup. I started off with just grabbing some of the purple string and added some tacky glue and just started wrapping it around. And this is going to be the base of my basket. I'm just going to continue wrapping it around and just adding a little bit more of tacky glue onto it until it starts getting some shape. Once I have made the coil a little bit bigger, I added some tacky glue to the middle of the largest cap and then just continued wrapping the string all around it. Also, I did not cut the string yet since I wasn't sure how much I would need, and I don't like wasting any of my craft materials, so I just waited to the very end to cut my string, so it just stayed on the entire pack and I just unraveled it little by little. I found that tacky glue is the best for me to make my miniature baskets since it dries clear. I also tried to keep most of the tacky glue on the inside of the basket, so mainly just applying it to the bottle cap and so that it wouldn't end up too much on the outside so that my basket would have a much cleaner look. I just continued wrapping the string around the bottle cap until I reached the top. And while the glue was drying, I grabbed some wire and then measured out how much I would need for it to become a handle for my basket. I ended up using 4 pieces of wire and then gluing all of them together to make a wider basket handle. And tacky glue held all of the wires pretty well together. I also used a clip to hold the 4 wires together while they dried. Very gently tried to remove the basket from the bottle cap. It wasn't fully dry, and I'm not sure if it would have been better if I waited until the glue was fully dry, but I just very gently just kept pushing it down the bottle cap until it fully came off, and you can still see that some of the glue is wet at the bottom. I trimmed the extra string and then ended up just tucking it inward inside of the basket so that you would not see the loose end. And then I just let the basket dry and I moved on to the handle of the basket. So the glue is already fully dry, so I just grabbed some string and then used some more tacky glue and then just wrapped the string around this wire handle that I made. I found it helpful to add glue to both sides of the wire, so on the top and underneath, it just held the string better together and then I don't have to worry about it unraveling long term. Once I finished wrapping all of the string around the wire, I added a little bit of glue on the end of the string so that it wouldn't end up fraying, and then I trimmed some of the extra wire that was sticking out. I then made sure that it would fit inside of the basket before I would add in some glue. Then using some tacky glue, I just added a little bit on the inside, and I also covered up that little extra string that I tucked on the inside so that it wouldn't be noticeable and would actually be covered with the handle. And here's how the basket looks once all of the glue is fully dried. As you can see, the inside is just a little bit more shinier since a lot of the glue ended up on the inside when I was gluing it to the bottle cap. Next, I'm going to use the blue string for a medium size basket and then the pink string for the smaller one. And then I just followed the same exact steps that I did for the smaller baskets as I did for the purple basket. I was also thinking of starting a blog on how I make all of my miniatures, but I'm not sure if that's something you guys would be interested in. And if that is something you guys would like, let me know down below in the comments, because I personally find it very helpful to read other blogs on how to make things. So let me know if that is something you'd be interested in, or if you have any other social media channels that you think would be great. I was also thinking of maybe starting an Instagram, but let me know what you guys would find the most helpful. Just because all of these extra things do take some extra time, and I do work full time outside of this, so I want to make sure that I am doing something that will be helpful to all of you guys. And the last basket that I'm making is going to be a pink one. And this one is going to be the smallest one. I'm using the smallest cap that I have. I thought it would be nice to have different sizes of the baskets just so I could put different types of items inside. I also did different lengths of the handles. As you can see, the purple one has the tallest handle, so I'll probably put something very tall in there. And then the other two are going to have smaller handles. And I just continued the same exact process for all of the sizes. It's just wrapping the string around the bottle cap. Since this small basket is going to have a much smaller handle, I ended up unraveling some of the string into smaller pieces so that it wouldn't look as clunky around the wire. I did use a lot less wire for this one. I only used 2 pieces, whereas in this larger one, I used 4. For basket filling, I just used the same paper that I used earlier in this video, and then I ended up just cutting it into much smaller pieces, both vertically and horizontally, just to make it a lot smaller and so it looks like it fits in the scale. And then I just filled up all of the baskets with it. If you don't already have some basket filler, you can also make this using some construction paper. If you just cut it into really thin strips and then just crinkle it or fold it over and over again. I decided to make the pink basket a little bit different than the other, so I didn't add the same basket filler. Instead, I just used some clay bunny pieces that I had, and it makes it look like a little basket of candy. I love all of the colors. They go perfectly with my entire theme too. To make some miniature chocolate bunnies, I used this clay from Sculpey, and it's actually called chocolate, so I thought it'd be really perfect to use to make the miniature bunnies. And to make the actual bunnies, I have these molds that I will then just put the clay inside and it'll give me the perfect little bunny mold. And I also have a bigger size mold for a bigger bunny, and that one is going to go inside the biggest basket that I made. I warmed up the clay just using my fingers so that it would go inside of the mold a lot better. And then I just put the clay inside of the bunny mold and then just removed any of the extra clay that was kind of hanging over the edge. Also, while I did this, I preheated my oven to 275 degrees. And these molds are safe to bake. That is something important, that if you are looking for molds to kind of make some polymer clay pieces, you want to make sure that they are oven safe. I'm really happy with how the bunnies turned out. They're going to look so cute inside of the baskets. I found these really pretty pink tulips online and thought they would be really great to have as a bouquet as part of my decorations because it's not spring without some flowers, and tulips are my favorite flower during the spring. I trimmed off the extra wire of the ends just so that they would fit better inside of the jar, and I just kept trimming them until I got them to a length that I really liked. The pink flower parts are made from polymer clay. I hope to one day be able to actually know how to make these myself, so it could save me some money if I just buy the clay myself. Next, I use some LED resin, and that's going to look like water inside of the jar. I added the resin in very slowly, just 1 drop at a time, just so that it wouldn't end up getting messy and spilling over the edge. And then one by one, I added each of the flowers in, arranging them how I would want them to go. I have an LED light at home that I use for my own gel manicures, and this you can use to actually cure the resin. And now that the resin has hardened, this is how it looks. I ended up with some air bubbles inside. I'm not happy with the air bubble, but it's already hardened and there's nothing else I can do about it at this point. To make some colorful Easter eggs, I had some of these miniature white eggs, and I ended up just painting them with the same pastel paint that I used earlier. So I painted it purple, yellow, and blue. Oh, and I also painted one of them pink. And then I placed them inside of the baskets with the chocolate bunnies. I have these little tiny bows that I bought at Daiso, and all of the colors go so well with my theme, so I thought they'd be great either outside of the baskets or just on the shelves of my cabinet. Next, I'm going to make some Easter themed picture frames. I do have a separate video on how I make most of my miniature frames, so I'll put a link for that video down below. I buy pre-made resin frames and then I paint them the color that I want. So these ones, I wanted them to be purple, so I just applied some purple acrylic paint on top of them and then later sealed them with some Mod Podge. And then I painted the wood pieces yellow. These laser woodcut pieces are so versatile. I use them in so many of my miniature projects. And once all of the paint dried, I cut out a square from some thick cardstock paper, and that is going to be the back of my frame. I then went on to paint the back of the paper with just some light green paint, and then once that dried, applied some glue to the edges of the cardstock where the frame is going to go over. And then I added some glue to the back of the wood pieces, and then those are going to go inside of the frame. And here's how both of the frames turned out. They're going to go on top of the cabinet. Next, I'm making some miniature gift bags that are going to go next to the Easter baskets. I did make these in a separate video, so that video is going to be in a link down below. Just a quick version on how I make these gift bags. I use scrapbook paper and then I stencil out the gift bag and cut it out. And then I just fold all of the tabs of the paper and then where I have the little tabs cut out into the shape of a little gift bag. I use some tacky glue to hold the entire gift bag together, so I add glue to the bottom and then to the side of the gift bag. Scrapbook paper is really great to use for miniatures, especially if it has a really small print. Next, for the handles of the gift bag, I just add some glue and then attach a ribbon and let that dry. And now that all of the decorations are made, it's time for my favorite part, putting it all together. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys found something new that you guys can make for your dollhouses for Easter. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel and give this video a like. See you guys in the next video.